Alright, so the internet is absolutely losing its mind right now, and I need to talk about this because the reactions coming in from some of the biggest names in rap are not what anybody expected. Pooh Shiesty is sitting in a federal facility facing life in prison, his whole crew is cooked, his dad is in custody, and instead of the industry rallying around him, the conversation that has completely taken over is whether Gucci Mane told on him. And 50 Cent just weighed in, Lil Wayne just weighed in, Waka Flocka said something that stopped the whole comment section cold, and by the time this video is done, you are going to understand why the snitch debate is actually the most revealing thing about this entire situation and why the answer might surprise you. Before we get into the reactions, let me just quickly set the table for anyone coming to this fresh because the full story is wild. January 10th this year, Pooh Shiesty on home confinement, ankle monitor strapped to his leg, fresh out of federal prison, lures Gucci Mane to a recording studio in Dallas under the pretense of a business meeting about his contract. Gucci walks in with his team expecting a conversation. What he gets instead is Shiesty pulling out an AK-style pistol and forcing him to sign a contract release at gunpoint. His crew then robs everyone else in the room, Rolexes, chains, Gucci's wedding ring, his earrings, cash. One of Gucci's people gets choked to near unconsciousness. Big 30 blocks the door so nobody can escape, and then, and this is where it goes from crazy to cartoonish, multiple members of the crew go straight to Instagram and start posting the stolen jewelry. Batman GMT on the wrist, Dallas location tag, live. The feds arrest 8 of the 9 defendants on April 1st and hold a full Department of Justice press conference the next day. Federal kidnapping charges, life in prison on the table, and now the entire rap internet has one question: did Gucci tell? So here is why this debate even exists in the first place. Street code is a real thing in this culture, and historically, when something goes down between two people in this world, the unwritten rule is you do not involve law enforcement, you handle it differently. So when the DOJ comes out and publicly confirms that Gucci Mane was the victim, when his initials are all over the complaint, when he is clearly cooperating with federal investigator, a segment of the internet immediately goes to one place. Gucci told, he snitched. That is the narrative that spread within hours of the press conference dropping. And look, I get why it spread, because on the surface it looks a certain way. But here is where you actually have to slow down and think about what the evidence in this case actually looks like. Shiesty had an ankle monitor tracking his GPS in real time. That monitor placed him at the studio. The rental car used by the crew was booked in his dad's name. His dad went to a Staples on the way there and printed the contract in that same rental, which was caught on that Staples' own surveillance camera. The studio had cameras. The hotel they stayed at after had cameras. Fingerprints were lifted off the red Solo cups they were drinking from at the scene and matched to defendants. And then the crew themselves posted the stolen jewelry publicly on Instagram with location tags within hours. Gucci Mane did not build this case. Pooh Shiesty and his crew built this case for the feds and handed it to them gift wrapped.
Gucci and the cameraman identified his Instagram account as CEO Big 30. Okay, so, with all due respect here, no diss to Gucci. I love you, Gucci. Don't know if you're taking a stand, but Gucci's doing the identification. He's doing what I would do. He's doing it. Like, I ain't gonna lie, I'll drop a dime on a nigga, bro. Yo, that nigga live right here, man. Hold on, like, yo, this is his girl right here. Yeah. He fucking side bitch over here. Yup.
Now let us get into the actual reactions, because this is where it gets entertaining, and nobody does this better than 50 Cent. 50 sees this situation go public and immediately hops online. His response to the whole snitch debate, and I am paraphrasing here, is essentially him trolling the entire conversation. He posts about people calling Gucci a snitch and drops a line about Pookie Low, referencing Gucci's own past, framing the whole thing as the next episode of Only in Atlanta. And that is so 50 Cent, it physically hurts. Because what 50 is doing is not defending Gucci, and he is not attacking Shiesty. He is doing what he always does, pointing at the absurdity of the whole situation and laughing at everyone involved. And honestly, he is not wrong. This situation is objectively one of the most chaotic things to happen in the rap industry in years, and 50 Cent is going to squeeze every drop of entertainment value out of it. That is his brand and he is consistent with it. But underneath the jokes, there is a real point buried in there. If you do something this visible, this documented, this thoroughly recorded on multiple surveillance systems while wearing a government-issued GPS tracker, the concept of snitching becomes almost irrelevant. You told on yourself. Now, Waka Flocka's reaction is the one that actually hit different for me, because Waka is not someone who stays quiet when he has an opinion. This is a man who has never been shy about speaking his mind on industry beef. But when asked about the Gucci and Shiesty situation, his response is basically, "This is not something I am celebrating. We are not on one accord. None of my business. Moving on." And that is loud. That is a very loud silence from someone who very easily could have gone in either direction. Waka comes from the same Atlanta ecosystem as Gucci. He has history in these streets. He knows both sides of what this culture looks like, and his refusal to celebrate or condemn is actually the most measured take to come out of the whole situation. He is not going to sit there and call Gucci a snitch because he understands the full picture, but he is also not going to stand on a table and cheer for the feds locking up Shiesty. He is reading the room and choosing to say nothing of substance, and sometimes that tells you more than a full statement does. Lil Wayne's reaction is interesting from a different angle. Wayne has always been someone who exists in the rap game with a kind of elder statesman energy at this point. He has seen label disputes. He lived through the most public and painful label dispute in rap history with Cash Money, a situation where he felt trapped, unable to release music, watching his career sit in limbo while lawyers argued. And what Wayne has quietly acknowledged about this situation, without going into specifics, is essentially that the label dispute part of the story, the frustration of feeling locked in, is something he understands on a human level. But there is a canyon of difference between what Wayne did, which was fight it legally and publicly through legitimate channels, and pulling up to a Dallas studio with 8 people from Memphis in an AK. Wayne does not need to say much for his position to be understood. The contrast speaks for itself.
Said it Nash just read the paperwork, and I ain't gonna lie, Pooh Shiesty cold. That paperwork also say, goddammit, Gucci Man done told. Huh? Said it Nash just read the paperwork, and I ain't gonna lie, Pooh Shiesty cold. But that paperwork also said, goddammit, Gucci Man done told. Listen, Shetty Nash just went through the paperwork on his IG, and he said he gonna be going over it on YouTube as well. But basically, Gucci Man, his cameraman, and his security pointed out Pooh Shiesty, Big 30, and Pooh Shiesty Daddy. Said the whole thing, what happened, how it all happened, how they went up to meet with them. They made him sign the contract first. The entire thing. Y'all can go on Instagram and look at it. He actually read it out to you. Said it Nash, making sure ain't no lines misconstrued.
And that is what the reactions from all of these artists are really pointing at when you strip away the jokes and the posts and the trolling. Nobody in the industry, not 50, not Waka, not Wayne, is coming out and openly defending what Pooh Shiesty did, because there is nothing to defend. The man had every opportunity. He had a #1 record. He had real momentum coming home from prison. He had Yo Gotti allegedly sitting there with serious money waiting. And instead of any of the legal options available to him, he walked into a studio with a Draco and tried to rob his way to freedom. And here is the layer nobody is really sitting with properly, because right now there are 2 completely different conversations happening simultaneously. On the street side of the internet, you have got free Pooh comments everywhere, people mythologizing the whole thing like it was some kind of power move. But on the industry side, the temperature is completely different. Executives, managers, lawyers, people who travel to studios and business meetings every single day are looking at what happened in Dallas and feeling genuinely unsettled. The US attorney did not stand at that podium and call this a warning for no reason. This went beyond one rapper and one label dispute the second it happened. And that is the part of this story that is going to outlast all the memes. Gucci Mane did not end Pooh Shiesty's career. Pooh Shiesty ended Pooh Shiesty's career. And the snitch debate, as entertaining as it is for the internet, is just noise designed to distract from that fact. Subscribe if you want to stay across this story as it develops, because the sentencing phase of this case is going to be something else entirely. I will catch you in the next one.